Yep, we are live.
Good deal.
Yeah. Hello and welcome everyone to the Layer5's website call. Today is Monday, March 14. My name is Gaurav. I'm your host today, so let's get started. So make sure you mark your attendance in meeting minutes. The link is in the chat. And we generally do have a tradition to introduce newcomers on every call, but I don't think we have one on this one, right? So if anyone is new, like you can surely unmute yourself or say hi in chat. Let me share my screen also. Yep. So first topic is by Kunal. Yep. So he's not available on the call. So the first topic is She Code Africa project discussion. So Lee, would you like to give us a brief about the program and what all we are planning for this She Code Africa?
Yeah, you bet. So last year we partook in, it's about a month-long program from, well, an organization called She Code Africa. And it's that time of year again to participate. And so we are. There are a handful of you in the community who are helping organize our participation. One of the projects that's been proposed for collaboration with the mentees, the participants in She Code Africa, one of the projects is, well, leaderboards for the community's discussion forum. So if you have, I think most of you or all of you have probably been out to the discussion forum at discuss.layer5.io. When you participate, there are statistics gathered just through participation. And there's different activities that that you do, that members of the forum do. Comment, that you'll make a post. You might like something, you might comment on something, you might have one of your comments marked as a solution. You might, what else? Tag something, and I don't, there's various things as you sign in, etc. As you do that, the forum tracks statistics, and it would be nice if, like on a monthly basis, there was a leaderboard for those that, maybe for those that have answered the most questions, those that have had their, or those who have the most read post or the most liked post, or things like that. So the discussion forum, it runs on Discourse. There's a Postgres database that's used to house and persist the statistics. And so recalling those statistics from database and displaying them in a leaderboard is, well, it's a well-suited sort of mini project, if you will, for She Code Africa. And so, yeah, there's a few different ways that this type of a project can be done, that a leaderboard can be created. One very simple way of thinking about this is that there's a Postgres database. There's some sort of scripting code that can be written to read from the database. I forget, I think there's a lot of Ruby that goes around in Discourse. That said, there's a plugin, there's a design for people to write plugins to be able to take and use that information to, so when we say leaderboard, it's really just as simple as like, here's the top 10, here's a list of the top 10, maybe top 10 posts, top 10, the same statistics that we just went over. So yeah, that's what that's about. I think for the most part, Kunal, Verma, and Raj have been maybe discussing this more than others. So there is a design spec in the community for not just the discussion forum, but for I'm sorry, not just for the leaderboards, but for the discussion forum overall. I'll grab that and put it in here. I believe that it also describes the leaderboards. So I think those guys are like debating or discussing what architectural approach to take, how to get the data and how to display it. There are, so here's the design spec that I've posted inside of the meeting minutes. There's, actually, I think these guys need help, to be frank. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know when She Code Africa is starting. I wanted to say it was the 1st of April. She Code Africa. We should have, last year it was the 1st of April. So, and we should actually get a blog post up about that. The organizers between She Code Africa and Open Force have been less than timely on some of this. So yeah, look inside the discussion forum design spec. And if you've got suggestions on the approach, the approach to the leaderboard plugin, put them in there. There are a couple of repositories, mostly empty repositories within the Layer5 IO org that were created for this purpose. So there's a couple of, so to the extent that there's a separate plugin created, there's a place to land those. It really doesn't take anything fancy. It's just reading from the database, displaying it in a list in HTML. So there's a number of, there's a few different REST APIs that are available from the from Discourse itself already. That could, some of those might already have the data that's needed. So yeah, do hit up Raj and Kunal Verma if you're interested. I think another.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. And like there are a couple, many of the links provided in the chat, so you all can have a look and like do really ping Kunal and Raj. And if you have any other suggestions and enhancements and like anything else related to leaderboards and She Code Africa, you can like post them in discuss forum and ask them in Slack. So moving on to the next topic is by Subrwadip about collapsible tags and categories. So Subrwadip is here. So Subrwadip, would you like to present?
Hello.
Yep, you are audible.
Oh, so actually the last update about this thing, wait, let me share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it's almost here. The last update was that the alignment of the subscriber button, subscriber input with the categories and tags. Actually, I just submit the PR. Okay, so build is ready already. I'm showing this. Sorry for the solo network. Gaurav, if you don't mind, can you share your screen because my network is so slow, it's
Yeah,
loading too
sure,
much
sure.
link. Okay.
Yep, I'll go to your PR. Yep. So
Go to blog. Yeah. Scroll down. Yeah, previously the subscriber input was not aligned with the tags and categories, so this was the last update about this. It's now aligned perfectly with tags and categories. If you go to any of the tags, you will see that it's aligned. Tags or categories, if you go any. Yeah. This is the
okay.
last update.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's now
That's
centered with
nice.
his with its category index.
Yeah, it's a good update. Subrwadip. Yeah. So
That's nice. Oh. Yeah, the single column the single column list of blog posts, that's relatively new as well. It's nice to see again. So
yeah. So thank you, Subrwadip. So is this PR merged, or if not, let's
No,
get
no,
it.
not yet.
Okay. So are there any outstanding comments or reviews are there need to be addressed? If not, I think we are good to merge, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the behavior of
it
it.
is.
Yeah. So by the way, super deep, just real briefly, there's in between each section, the call out to the discuss forum. It says join the discussion, category tags,
Yeah.
and the subscription. This may or may not have anything to do with your changes, but there's a slight difference in the vertical spacing between them. I think it seemed like the join the discussion, like in between that call out and the categories, it seemed like there was a little
Okay.
less, slightly less vertical space. And I was just looking at one of the CSS changes and wasn't sure if that had an effect. And it might not have. But do you see what I'm saying? See the white space between each of these, the bottom three, and then the call to action?
Okay, so we need to remove this or make it more.
No, make them all the same. Make them equidistant in their margins between each of the four sections.
Okay, okay. Understood.
Wait, yeah.
Okay,
So
I will
no,
do it.
okay, no. Okay, does that make sense? It sounds like it doesn't make sense to you, and that's okay. Like say that it doesn't make sense, and let's make sure.
That means we need to make equal distance between this join the discussion from categories and tags, right?
Right. Right. And then can you tell that there's a difference? Because if you can't tell, we're going to be screwed. If you can't see it, because then you won't be able to fix it. So
I
if
guess it
you
looks perfect, but if anyone wants give to review, then I can work on that.
no, yeah, I'm reviewing. I'm telling you, it's not the same. That's what I'm saying. Is like I don't think you
Okay,
see
okay.
it. So
Sure,
I don't
sure.
know how you're
I
going
will
to
do
fix
it.
it. No. But okay, before you do, like, so this. By the way, this is good. So this is what this call is for, is to like help you through these things. And so if you can't see it, you can't fix it, kind of a thing. Like you just won't be successful. So Gaurav, if you minimize all of them for a moment. Okay. If what you might want to do, Subrwadip, is like take a screenshot and mark it up, like get a vertical line segment of whatever size, and just put it in between each of the sections, and then see the fact that that vertical line segment doesn't sit comfortably in between each in the same way. Like you need some tool to be able to like make a little digital ruler, if you will, and that might help. That might help you visually see what's going on. I mean, yeah, it's actually, so it's not a big thing overall. It's one of those things that people can feel when they come to the site. They can feel that something's slightly off. And this is a good opportunity actually for you to enhance a skill, which is symmetry, which is like, and then also the ability to, if your eye can't detect it, then there are other tools that you can use to detect it. Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah. I think you'll be successful. Yeah.
What about the subscribe to the newsletter to be little lower, like near to older posts?
Oh,
if
yeah.
we keep if we keep the subscribe button and all the email somewhere near to older post, it will be good.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't really like.
I guess in that case, if tags or categories are open, then there will be more space, because we are putting at the last. If I put this subscriber to newsletter in like near to older post, then if we open the tag or category, then there will be space more.
We can also put in a footer,
which I think it is. Which it is.
Okay.
So it's a good suggestion, Aman. And so like, yeah, it's a pre-optimization, I guess. Like it's a good it's a worthwhile thought and kind of a pre-optimization, because so Aman's suggested solution is like is spot on, because like it's actually, he's right. Like we already did that, and that's a good suggestion. And then so it would be like, okay, hey, if you really wanted to get this perfect, you might say something like, okay, since it's already in the footer, why do we need it up there? Let's not put it there, and then we'll have the page look less cattywampus, less like offset. The issue is, A, we want people to sign up, so we want to have it up there. It's good. It's a good call to action. B, if it's a point in time problem where we only have 17 blog posts titled marked with community. Oh, it's actually not a point in time problem. So how many are we showing on this page? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 or 5 or so. So there's actually kind of a different issue probably occurring on that page, where we have 4. Are we showing 4 posts? It's like, we should probably show them a few more than 4. We should probably show them, 2.5 times that. Which, if I go back to my fourth grade mathematics, it's probably like 10. We should probably show them like 10 posts. And then part of what Siddharth is pointing out it wouldn't be so egregious that they were off. Like over time, if we just let tags run wild, we might have a really long list of a bunch of tags that have like one blog post. Over time, we need to curate the tags and which ones we need to like try to reinforce that some of the same ones be used. So that the right-hand side doesn't go, on forever. So right now we're uneven. We need to, this is like a note that we should take, is to expand the number of records in the list. And then outside of that, the right-hand side is about as good as it gets. It's just that what you do is say, hey, there's a column here. The column is, like in terms of the page design, there's like two columns. There's one that's like takes up 25% of the room. It's on the right-hand side. And all of the widgets that are inside of that column are top aligned. So they just all rise up whenever there's room, they go up. And so that's about like, if you were to take the subscribe and pin it to the bottom of that column, it might look a little bit weird to people, and it wouldn't necessarily get you any further along than you already are. But that doesn't mean that Siddharth isn't onto something, that there isn't, that stepping back and reflecting on the flow of the page isn't a good idea. It is actually, it's a good note that we're only showing like someone has searched for something, there's 17 results, and we're like, hey, here's a teaser, here's 4. If you want the other 13, you can paginate 4 more times. Like, no, we should probably just show them, 8, 10, 12, something. And then
we can also put search results, count of search results, how many results are found.
Yeah. And in this case, the 17 at the top is probably, like, that's a good point. Like, and that's probably, so if, just to prove that out a little bit, Gaurav, if you scroll to the top, we'll see that someone filtered on the tag called community. And so then the results they get is 17. But if you go just to the blog itself, like layer5io/blog, and do we have a search? Did we end up getting the search published? The ability to search?
Nope. We are just sorting on the base of categories and tags.
Somebody was working on search, but so if you filter on, so we showed what would happen if you filter on a tag, it would show you the number of matching posts. If you filter on a category, do you get the same thing? Okay, good. So that's good. That helps. Oh, I see what Aman was saying yeah, it's nice that you can see 17 big and bold at the top, but when you're at the bottom, you may not remember that it was 17. You might be curious as to like how many I've already seen and how many more there are left. So yeah, that's a good suggestion. Like, that's a pretty common like user experience paradigm. Is like, pagination, and part of that pagination is in helping people know where they're at. Like, am I in the middle of my results and I've got 1 more page left, or do I have 50 more pages left? And so, yeah, I think I'm going to write that down. There's kind of 2 things coming out of this discussion. Aman, it only took me like 5 minutes to understand what you'd said. That was a good suggestion. It's early morning over here. You can't hold it against me. It's like,
Should I fix those things in this PR, or should I make issues on the suggestions?
my suggestion is to be iterative in nature, is to like get this one successfully landed, go to the next small. The bigger the PR, the harder they fall, or the harder they are to merge.
Okay. Okay. So I'll create new issues for those things.
Nice. That's nice.
Yep. So moving on to next, we have a lot of good suggestions on Subrwadip's PR. So yep, great work, Subrwadip. Next up, we have Axit for events header images. So do we have Axit on the call? Nope, I don't think so. So let's see his work.
Hello.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, we have Axit on the call. Yep.
Hello.
Yep.
Hello.
You're audible.
Hello again.
Oh, written Akshit over.
Oh, we lost him.
We do have him. I think we didn't lose. I think he's having some issue in his mic. So, yep, you can write in chat, Akshit. So we'll just brief over your PR. So, your PR is for updated title images for all the events on the Layer5.io website. So the title images for align centrally. Please let me know. So I think you have aligned all these blog posts and articles images accordingly to the card and for the size. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, I saw his mic
Yeah.
moving up and down.
Yeah, you can say in chat, Akshit, no issues. Yeah.
Last week, I was working on fixing some alignment of a blog post, and then I realized that it would be very good idea to fix some kind of dimensions in the issue template of blogs. Like if any new contributor is writing a blog, he should submit some particular size of the image, some particular dimensions. It could be updated in the issue template.
Yeah, totally. That makes a ton of sense to me, especially if a ratio is mentioned, like 16:9 or something, because it's certainly there's more width available than there is height. And so, yeah, that's a great suggestion. So a ratio with maybe an example or two of what that would be, 600 by 335 or whatever the 16:9 is, or assuming that it's 16:9 or 4:3 or whatever it is.
Yeah, something rectangular, more like a rectangle.
Oh no, more fit in that. This is like fifth grade mathematics now. 16:9 is the same thing as 4:3. Yeah, okay.
Back in school times.
I didn't learn how to reduce until it was fifth grade. So 16:9 or 4:3.
Yep. Siddharth, it's a great suggestion. So, like, do we have an issue up for this, or you want to create one and start working on it? That would
Yeah,
be
I will
much better.
create. Yeah, I will create.
Yep, sound good. So, moving on to the next topic we have about getnighthawk.dev. So Navbar menu icon is currently not visible after all. Okay, let's visit the PR. Okay, so this one is merged and it was by Vijay Jain. Okay. I think it was a responsive issue for the mobile one and viewing the hamburger and all. So this was fixed. So let's move again. The next PR is about the style changes that were visible in the preview, but not on the deployment reference. This was also merged. Okay, so we have like both of them merged PRs. So
it might does anyone have the ability to take a look at what it looks like on a mobile device? Because the last time that we discussed this particular issue, I think the question was around what the documentation navigation looks like when you're on mobile, and how the menu for navigating the docs was displayed. Previously, there's I think a double set of arrows, a couple of chevrons that were used, and the way that they were presented made it look like it was like an arrow that would take you to the top of the page, when in reality it was an arrow it was a button that would expand a table of contents for the docs. So thank you for this. If you go to actually right here, if you scroll down just a little bit, okay, and stop, and you see the chevron in the lower right hand corner. Okay, that what does that do? It takes you to the top, right? Okay, good. But then if you're looking at the docs for Nighthawk,
navigation button is just like it disappeared after that PR. That's what was written in the doc. Like we cannot find the navigation menu in this. So after merging that PR, I think the navigation menu just disappeared.
That's too bad. Yeah, there's the double chevron. If you click that, good, you get to see a table of contents. But so Aditya, what do you think? Looks like there might be a couple of issues here.
Yeah, I think we discussed last time that it should be somewhere around the top left corner of the page and more to the left, and it hides the actual content that we're writing.
Oh yeah, you can't. Oh yeah. I think there's like 3 issues now that you're pointing it out. So okay, so the 2 that you mentioned, the last one that you mentioned is the fact that double chevron is blocking the reader from seeing some text. So that's not good. So yeah, if we took that and moved it, even if it stayed at the bottom or if it moved to the top, either way, if it was moved all the way to the left, and not just all the way, but like all the way such that a quarter of it or a third of it was cut off, so that it's like a semicircle, and it looked more like a pull tab, more like you were going to pull out a drawer. Because right now it's not affixed to the drawer, so to speak. It's and so yeah, that's so I'm just kind of repeating what Aditya had said. Then the third issue is the lack of mobile menu. It's gone. It's gone. Where did it go? Is anybody?
I think Abhijay is working to try to fix that only, and I think he wanted to discuss something about it, but
so we should make sure we clarify at least those 3 items. So left aligned pull tab, or you kind of convert that button to a pull tab. Try not to make it so that, I mean, yeah, if the pull tab, so by the way, does everybody, some of you guys have helped implement a pull tab of a drawer in Meshery. And I think I think that makes for a great example. Does anybody have Meshery running? I could show it. Maybe take a screenshot and send this to Abhijay. Let's see. I'll spin it up and then show you guys later, I suppose.
Yep. And we could have the hero image a bit smaller. for
I
the
have it
mobile.
running, but if you want me to share.
Yeah, if you would. Sharing is caring is what I'm told. That was something else I learned in 6th grade. It's like cool. So I'll let you talk about it, Aditya.
Okay, so this is the pull tab that was implemented in the Meshery UI. And I think what Lee was trying to say is that we should try and implement similar kind of pull tab in the getnighthawk docs page.
Let me see. Cool. I'm just taking notes. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Aditya, for showing us the demo. So would you also like to create an issue on the Layer5.io on GitHub org regarding this?
All right, I'll create an issue regarding the two. I'll create 2 issues Okay, yeah, I'll create 2 issues to top left align the pull tab and the missing navbar in the volume mobile view.
Yep, sounds good.
All right.
Next up, we have SMP Spec.io website issue by Atif. Make card size uniform. So let's go through that. Yep. So the issue was that the card resources are not of the same size and the block card looks a bit disorganized. So the expected behavior from the issue was uniformly of grid sizing and equalize the size in the block grid. So let's visit the PR by Atif.
Atif made the card form. So
Yep.
I can go make the workflow run to help build a preview.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
All right, I clicked in.
Yep. So basically, Atif has made changes in this area for resources for the card groups and this one. So
yeah, which makes sense. Yeah. Hey, since we're on the topic of cards, there's if you don't mind, Gaurav, if you were to visit the the community member profiles on Layer5.io, I'm pretty sure that there's a few of us that have some really long last names and maybe first, or 3 names. and which is fantastic, which is fantastic. But our cards adjust to accommodate. However, they also adjust to accommodate names that fit onto 2 lines, which makes the cards slightly uneven. So I think we have a card unevenness issue here as well. Now that said, if you can get all 4 people on the same row that have, but that's never going to consistently happen. And so the question becomes, is there a dynamic mechanism that we can use that will ensure that, like, for a given row, that for a given row, that they would all be of equal size? Because imagine what it might look like if, like, on that first row, the other 3 cards are made to be of the tall, they're made to be taller. And so they have a little more white space or green space, whatever, white space in the card. What I'm pointing out is, like, if all the cards are made a minimum height to fit 3, the double line of, did I say 3 lines and 2 lines earlier? I guess it's just a single line and 2 lines. Anyway, if all the cards are made to be accommodating of 2 lines, then there's going to be a lot of space kind of wasted, right? And so the more intelligible way is to do something, like, in a more challenging way, is to do something like, oh, if a card within this row has 2 lines, then make sure that the minimum height for all the rest is like this as well. And I don't think that, anyway, maybe the right thing to do is just make them all accommodating of 2 lines, because to be honest, the cards themselves are a little bit dense. They're slightly dense. They're also kind of, ugly, I think. And it's kind of on purpose, which that's weird to say that we would have something ugly on purpose. And I'll walk you through why that is. But at the end of me walking you through this, I think the open question that we should be asking ourselves is, should we style these up just a little bit? Should we, like, add a border radius? Should we make these a little, should we add a shadow to the, maybe, right? Like, so right now, if you're a meshmate, you get a badge on the front of your card. Why? Because that means that you're better than everybody else. No, I'm just kidding. Because that means that you've been here invested in helping other people grow and in sharing what you know. So it means you're an onboarding buddy. It means that you're a mentor. and that takes a lot of effort. And you get selected to be one, or asked to be one, invited to be one, if you've been just doing that. If you've been, and as a matter of fact, like, it's actually time for us to go assess whether or not to invite a couple of new people to the program. Anyway, aside from that, so if you click on if you were to click on the Meshmate badge itself and not, okay, then you go to the Meshmates page, fine. But okay, this is going to disprove what I had said. So these cards are just as ugly. And I thought we were going to see something different. If you go to a member's profile page, we get their, anybody. And so we get, if you roll over Anita's profile picture, you see the really soft radial border that's added to 2. Okay, so there's, if you don't mind, I'm going to share the screen for just a moment.
Sure.
I wanted to, I guess this is a good question for us to ask. I had thought that we had a different style of cards available for meshmates and available for community managers and available for community members. We definitely have badges So this is something for us all to think about for a moment. Community members. All right. So if you've been in the community, inevitably, and you've been doing good things, or trying to help, or even if they're not good things, as long as you're just doing things, we recognize that, and then eventually ask if you'd like to join the ranks with the rest of the folks on here. What happens is that when you initially go to the page, this will show you, the active profiles. There are many people who've come and gone. And so you can also look at the inactive profiles, and then they look the same when you go to the page itself. Actually, Austin in particular, that guy had done quite a bit. He's got a great visual eye for aesthetics. Anyway, there's other badges. So if you've been helping the community, you'd get that kind of a badge. You get this badge here. If you click on the badge, it should take you to, in this case, it takes you to the landscape, because that's, I don't know, because if you've been working on the other projects, you get those badges. Okay, fine. Okay. Now, there are other ways that we will represent, that we will assign people a badge. Why is this? Oh, I'm not sure. I'm trying to go to. So there's a project file, Figma project file, design file for Layer5, which it has the getnighthawk site and maybe some other things in here. One of the other things that it has is member cards. So we've had kind of different designs over time, or that people attempted, and this was terribly ugly, too small of images, and same thing here. And anyway, we went through revisions, and we came around to a couple of different styles. So for a meshmate, here's the badge that gets used. So it's got a bit of a shadow. It's rectangular and square on the edge, but it's got some flair, if you will, some of the logos from the projects, and the picture goes in here. Okay. Oh, geez, who's this guy? And then if you happen to suffer through an internship here, you get one of these as your only reward. Anyway, you can see that there's the same style rounding is happening, except, corners here. So anyway, it's a different style, right? Like my perspective is this is a lot prettier than the generic green. And so anyway, what we've done is if we've tried to say, hey, the more time that you've invested, the more impactful you've been, the longer you've been around, the more flair you should have, or the prettier your card gets. This guy has done quite a bit. So he's the only one that has one of these for the moment. It's time to hand out 2021's award. Okay, so what I'm getting to is there's a bunch of different roles, right? There's contributors and just community members and community managers, maintainers, different types of maintainers, meshmates. There will at some point be mesh masters, a concept that I've talked about in the past. Okay, if you reflect on that and you come back here, then we can ask ourselves, should these be purdied up a little bit? Should we give this a rounded? Should we do anything else? Should we put some flair, something else in the background? It's like, I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like the one you showed in Figma, the white card designs, like the above one. Yeah. Like just removing the gray one and touching up some background color in the card, like I think that would work.
And then, yeah, it makes sense. Like I think that it would be hard to argue that any one of these doesn't look better than just this one. I think, and so okay. Then part of the question though is, okay, understanding that we're trying to differentiate, trying to elevate those who've done more. How do we make these a little more pretty, but while at the same time maintaining the fact that some of these other folks have given even more time to the projects. So if we, Gaurav, if we don't go, yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
So the question is, okay, so there's an acknowledgement. These are kind of ugly, or these could be better. Now, understanding that there's a hierarchy, or there's an echelon, or there's a journey, or whatever words you want to use, basically that these people are better than these people. No, again, I'm just kidding about that. But that these people have more recognition for the works that they've done. How do we ensure that we make this a little more pretty, but also leave some gap, make it so that there's differentiation between recognition of time given?
We can do this with badge. We have a badge system.
Yeah, the badges, that's a good point. Those certainly help, right? Like, we put those on the front or even on the page itself. And so Aman, you're like, if I were to put some words in your mouth, were you saying, hey, like we might just go and make them all really pretty, like either this white or one of these, and then the way that we would differentiate is that you would have badges on your card while all the cards.
Yes, that's my entire idea. All the cards will be same. They will be differentiated by badge.
Gotcha. Yep, makes sense. Makes sense.
Because whenever new user come on our side, it will be difficult for him to differentiate between colors. If one color card is different, another is different.
To understand what the difference is, yeah. It's an interesting thing because, yeah, in a similar vein, you could say it would be, well, I don't know. Like, it's kind of the same thing about the badges, I guess, is that like, when you go here and you're like, oh, if you can tell that there is a badge, some people might overlook the fact that there's a badge. I think it might just be dependent upon the profile picture and whether or not it sticks out. And so on Anita's, because there's a dark background, maybe it sticks out more. I don't know. But okay. And then imagine that if she had, let's see. So what does she have? She has just the one. Okay. But for Aditya, if he has 3 of them, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm on, it's something to continue to think about. Like, would we show all 3 out here? Because, or maybe these other 2 aren't as important. So we only show the other one. Or what happens if there's a real nerd here and they've got like 19 of them? I think Gaurav is probably missing 1 or 2. Oh, actually, you know what? There's something else for us to do. So Gaurav is a good example. He has the landscape badge, which should take you to the service mesh landscape. Okay, good. Also, you might notice that Gaurav is helping steward community, like as in hosting calls like this one. And so maybe he's deserving of the community badge as well. When I clicked on the community badge earlier for someone, I forget whom, it took us to, this is the community badge. It took us, oh, okay, interesting. I see. This is going to take us to community managers, of which Aditya is. Okay, I think we've probably got a bug here. Because didn't I click on someone's profile and clicked on the community card and it took us to the landscape? I can't remember. So assuming that that is a yes, then we've got an issue. Nerd. Okay, patterns. Ooh, dang. Ooh, look at these badges. Oh, this guy doesn't do anything in community. he doesn't have the community badge. What a jerk. Look at that. Okay. Well, we've probably got a couple of things to fix here. Huh? Okay, but Aman, do you want to, if you've got access to this Figma, maybe if you'd like to just kind of do it, grab a section and do a draft, kind of do a mock-up of what you're thinking, if you'd like, that would, then we can. Mesh master. Oh yeah. Cool. Well, Subrwadip, did you want to? Oh, okay. You were just okay. Got it. So, Gaurav, back to you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we are about time. So I saw in chat that Aman, you said this is your first time. So would you like to quickly introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm audible?
Yep.
Myself, Sayyid Aman Ali. I am pursuing graduation in computer science degree. I'm in my third year. I am a web developer. I am currently learning React as my front-end framework. For backend purpose, I have learned a little bit about Node.js and database system, and looking forward to contribute in a layer 5 project.
Awesome. Aman, great to have you. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Aman. Hope you will enjoy in the community. So let's end this call, and thank you everyone for joining. We will meet same time, same place next week. So, yeah.
A quick interjection, if I could. Patel, or so Axit, I think his. Oh, okay, I'm getting confused. So Patel, did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yep, you can share your screen if you want.
Okay. So what I fixed is I have aligned the image in the center, and I have removed the unwanted space from here.
Oh, weird. Yeah, nice. Your update is on the left, right? Cool. So Axit, we might have lost. Yeah.
Remove that unwanted space from here. That basically fix the issue.
Yeah, that's great, man. I can't believe that we had an issue like that. That's pretty terrible. Yeah, we should get that merged quick. Nice. Axit, do you know, by the way, is it Patel or is your first name Patel or Axit?
My name is Axit. First name is Axit.
Oh, got you. Okay. Axit, do you know what the cause of that issue was? Was it just maybe someone had updated some CSS, a style that was referenced in a different area and didn't realize it was going to change this as well?
No, I don't have that idea.
Okay. It was probably me. Most of the mess ups are my fault. So it was I'm just the default scapegoat. Let's just say it was me. Fine. It was me. Okay, fine. I admit it. It was I have no idea. Actually, I did make an update in this general region, but it was in a different, not for events. So I don't know. Anyway, Cool. No, yeah, Aditya, so Aditya's got a different project that he's working on service mesh performance on SMP Spec.io. The project is not just for one person, meaning Aditya, I think, can handle it. It just would take him a really long time because it's just a bigger project. So the project is about creating performance dashboards on SMP Spec.io. And Aditya, you might end up describing part of that effort to other folks on this call or in the website's channel. But one thing that you should do for sure is parlay with Pranav Singh, who's been active and is comfortable with Meshery Cloud now, and he can assist with getting you some new REST endpoints so that you can retrieve statistics or retrieve metrics and statistics.
Okay,
So,
I'll talk with him, Pranav.
nice. Good, and we're just about to wrap up, and Abhijay jumped in. Abhijay, there's just a couple of points of feedback we're given on the Nighthawk mobile views. So.
Okay, I will watch the recording. Sorry, I messed up the time zones. I don't have any idea about that you shifted the time zones for meeting. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a good. We should send out reminders again because it's especially if where you live you don't have to pay attention. Like it's hard enough for people that live in those time zones that to remember that the time changed. So yeah. It's painful too, because it's like really early in the morning. Cool. Gaurav, thanks for letting me jump in and chat a bit. But I think that was all for me.
Yep. Thank you everyone for joining. So we'll meet next Monday, same time, same place. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Thanks, Gaurav.
Bye.
Bye now.